Now, Carol is out at the Chelsea Flower Show this morning, which is different this year, isn't it? For the first time in more than a century. Of course, it's taking place in September. Morning, Carol.
Morning.
Good morning, both. Good morning to you as well. Of course, it's been postponed to the autumn this year because of the pandemic, but it still is glorious. It's dark. That's really unusual for the Chelsea Flower Show because earlier in the year, of course, it's much brighter. So let's take a look at the garden behind me. Now, this is the Yeo Valley Garden, designed by Tom Massey, and it's very much designed to nurture soil health, enhance biodiversity, support pollinators, and energize wildlife. And you see that egg-shaped seat just over there. The base of that is glass. So if you were sitting in it, you'd have a cracking view of the stream right underneath it. Now, talking of cracking, the weather today is not too bad either. For most of us, it is going to be dry with a fair bit of sunshine. And for the next few days, the forecast remains fairly settled. It's really until we get to Wednesday when things start to change and turn a bit more unsettled, certainly in the north, and we'll also see the wind pick up for some, maybe even touching gale force in the far north.
Oh, Carol, I love that pod behind you, by the way. Is there a little sofa in there, maybe for a little lie down 10 minutes later?
Do you know, you can be winched up, Dan. That's the one that's got the glass bottom, so if you're sitting on it, you can look down and see the stream. I don't know, if I went in, it would probably crash into the stream, so we'll leave it at that.
No way, Carol. Thank you very much. We'll see you a bit later on. Looks lovely there this morning.
I reckon there'll be one of those in Carol's garden within the next few weeks. Carol's got a beautiful garden. I can see that fitting right in.
Can we now go to Carol?
Yes, we can. Good morning, Carol.
I'm so excited to get Carol on the programme. I'll basically just do the whole thing with her.
Exactly.
Good morning, Carol.
That's okay by me, Dan. You nearly gave me a heart attack a few minutes ago. I was in the middle of a conversation with one of the designers. What? Anyway, good morning, everybody. We are at the Chelsea Flower Show, and as Dan and Sal were saying earlier, it's been 108 years since, in fact, never have they had an autumnal Chelsea Flower Show before, and it's because of the pandemic. And behind me, if I get out of the way, you can see this spectacular garden. It's the Guangzhou Garden. It takes inspiration from Guangzhou, the city between mountain and water, and these big dome-like features at the back represent skyscrapers, and it illustrates how to create green space, cleaner air, and at the same time provide somewhere for wildlife to live. So basically it connects people and nature in city environments. And the Chelsea Flower Show this year is showing the importance of well-being and fresh air. And the plants are quite different from what we're used to as well. We're used to more of the summer plants when the Chelsea Flower Show happens in May. Now we're looking at more asters, more salvias, that kind of thing. It's gorgeous.
Carol is out at the Chelsea Flower Show for us this morning, which for the first time in a century is taking place in September, but she is not alone. Morning, Carol.
Oh, who's this gorgeous creature?
Good morning. Come on. This is Flash. Now, the guide dogs have a 90th anniversary garden here, and Flash is one of the doggies you'll see if you come down today. Now, she's a friend of the programme. She was actually on our programme on the 28th of April with her trainer Mel when she took a little bit of a nibble out of Mel's hand, and she was only 18 weeks old then. Now, she's grown a bit since then, and she's very well behaved, I must say, as well, and just gorgeous. In fact, the first guide dogs for the blind were actually 4 German Shepherds. But as you can see, she's a beautiful, beautiful Labrador. Now, the weather today, in fact, the forecast for the next few days is going to be fairly settled. There will be some sunny spells around as well. It's after that, it turns wetter and windier in the north. Isn't she absolutely gorgeous? Young Flash here. I think she likes my cable, so I might not be with you for the rest of the morning. But she's gorgeous.
Oh, I think you've got a good friend there already. Go on, Flash. Oh, shit.
Oh, I think she likes Adrian, the cameraman.
Well, who doesn't? Thank you very much for that, Carol. See you later on.
I think Flash has just spotted a tree. Look,
Oh.
she's gone. She's gone.
We've got a Kirkwood down. We've got a Kirkwood down. Someone save Carol.
Flash is strong.
Are you all right, Carol?
I think she's lost her earpiece. OK.
We're
Carol, we're just checking that you're OK.
Are you
Are you
okay?
all right?
Yes, yes, she's a very strong girl, Flash. She went back to her trainer Mel, who's on the other side of the camera.
Excellent. We're glad you're okay. Thank you, Carol.
Don't you love live television?
Some high drama there at 7:15.
Don't you
Carol's
see
all right.
Carol's pumps on the floor.
She's laughing her head off. I think she might have lost a shoe. Carol is at the Chelsea Flower Show this morning. And Carol, we saw Flash in the last time we spoke to you, causing a bit of a rumpus at the end. Have you got rid of Flash, or is he still there?
No, he's moved on, Dan. Good morning, everybody. We're at the RHS Flower Show. It hasn't been held in the autumn for 108 years, or in fact ever. It's the first time, of course, due to the pandemic. And this is the RHS COP26 garden, designed by Marie-Louise Adrius. Now, it might not look as becoming as many of the gardens, but this area you can see here represents flooding and building on flooding areas as well, floodplains. And basically, it's showing also how gardening and gardeners can play a very important role in mitigating climate change, looking at issues such as managing soil and managing water runoff as well, and also the different plants suited to extreme weather conditions. Perhaps, though, behind me is the most symbolic of them all, and that's the Ginkgo tree just there on the horizon. Now, that has survived multiple extinctions and is still going strong. And you can see from the kaleidoscope of colour behind me, all the autumnal flowers, dahlias for example, quite popular here at the Chelsea Flower Show this year. It's quite cloudy in London this morning. For many of us, for the next few days, the forecast is settled. There'll be a lot of dry weather around, there'll be some sunshine as well, but it is going to change and become more unsettled from Wednesday, particularly initially in the north.
Now, it's slightly different Chelsea Flower Show this year, because normally it would happen earlier in the year.
Yeah.
A bit more autumnal feel about it.
As you said earlier, a bit more like a harvest festival.
Perhaps.
Bring in your tins of beans and your marrows.
A very glamorous harvest festival.
Carol arrived at work this morning with a large pumpkin under each arm. Good morning.
Good morning, thank you for that, Dan. It is lovely to be back at the Chelsea Flower Show. You know, it's the first time in 108 years that it's been held during the autumn months, of course due to the pandemic recently, and you can see how magnificent this garden is, designed by David Dodd. We'll be speaking to him in about half an hour, and it's called the Queen's Green Canopy Garden, which is promoting the Queen's Platinum Jubilee next year. It's the largest garden here at the Chelsea Flower Show, and it highlights the importance of trees and woodlands to encourage individuals, companies and groups to actually get out there and plant trees. And there are 3,500 plants and 21 trees in this particular plot. Dan and Sal, I have to say, it has been such a pleasure being back here at the RHS Chelsea Flower Show. Autumn is just as pretty as it is in May.
It has looked really lovely there today, Carol. Thank you very much for that. We'll see you, well, you're on tomorrow. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Yes, see you tomorrow.
Lovely.
It's great having Carol back, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. What, Matt's all right, though, isn't it?
Nothing wrong with that.
So glad to get rid of Matt.
Oh, stop.
So difficult to work with. They're all lovely.
Do love Carol.
Yes, I know.